All right, today on Land Beat, we're gonna walk you through a TSI section and an aggressive TSI that was done 1 year ago and see just how much benefit we have now for wildlife. All right, guys, we're standing in a section that about November, December last year, TSI was done in this unit. The main goal was to increase the herbaceous ground cover and really shift from a closed canopy section to predominantly just crop tree release. And we had to take a lot of trees to do that. So in this video, as we're walking around, you're gonna see a lot of down tree structures. You're gonna see a lot of stump sprouting. You're gonna see a lot of cedar canopy on the ground. Looks kind of messy, but what I want you to really focus in on is the amount of forage, the amount of cover that's now produced, and then the freed up oaks that are also in this unit. So we're gonna be looking at things at ground level all the way up to the canopy, and we might even see some mass producing trees here that are loaded this year because it's a great year for white oaks, and there's even a few red oaks that have mass production. But with this video, keep in mind, this is partly through the transformation. Again, this is done last year during the dormant season, and we're going through the tail end of the growing season following up that treatment. So this is how fast things can turn around in a forest. You may not be comfortable or used to, let's say, the debris load that's down on the ground, but that's all temporary. And I think that we need to kind of shift our minds sometimes to really seeing that to create structure and to create cover that's not uniform, there has to be debris on the ground, and there has to be stump sprouts of different heights and canopies laying across the ground. That really promotes daylight movement, daylight usage, but also just cover that makes deer feel very comfortable. And so that's what you're gonna see in this video. But first off, let's take a look at this woody sprout. This was cut during the TSI section. Obviously we have multi-sprouts coming back from the base, the stump of this tree. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that deer are liking woody browse. And majority of this was obviously growing during the spring, summer months, and deer are still hitting woody browse. Woody browse is applicable all year round, but most importantly, it's applicable all year round when it's in reach. This tree was not offering anything. It was shading out the ground. Now it's been cut, and deer have been highly selecting this tree to forage on throughout the growing season. This will continue to produce forage and cover as we roll into the fall and winter months because all this is still within reach, and we'll have tender buds on it as well as we're going into the dormant season. So this is great to see that response, not only from the plant and the mechanical cutting of the tree, but also it's being highly selected. Right next to it, we've got a larger walnut resprout. This was foraged on probably a little bit, but it grew up at a very fast rate. And now we're seeing different, again, height structures and cover being produced when we have stump sprouts at this level, stump sprouts at this level. We're gonna be producing, again, forage and cover. Another important thing to note too, when we're looking at here is the amount of sunlight that's come through. What that is going to do is increase the amount of sunlight, right? That's going to then shift the plant communities from what had been really just shade tolerant species growing in here when it's closed canopy to more semi-shade, sun-loving type plants, such as this grape. And we're seeing a lot more raspberry growing in here as well. So you'll see that kind of growing, climbing over top of the down tree structures. And don't get me wrong, and don't forget, hey, there's still a lot of forage coming off of these grapes and brambles offered in here. So I love seeing the shift in plant communities, love seeing the amount of forage and cover that they then produce within a very quick matter of time. As we move back through this section, we've got another elm sprout right here that is definitely producing quite a bit of forage. And this is American burnweed. This is going to pretty much come back in a lot of the whitetail's range when you open up the canopy and you add sunlight. This is basically a year one plant, but this is 5, almost 6 foot tall. So this structure is going to be standing throughout the winter time. Again, help breaking up the outlines. This never would have grown prior to cutting trees. So this is cover, whereas stems and closed canopy forest is not cover. We've got other videos to showcase that and the differences of what quality cover looks like based on your canopy closure. But this is the value. This is what you get back when you are cutting. Not everything has to be a deer food that comes back as regeneration for it to be really useful and beneficial. Remember, we're managing plant communities, and the plant communities are made up of a lot of varieties and growth structures and times of each of these plants, and they all have a role. This one is a cover for and a breaking up of outlines year 1 and probably year 2. Year 3, 4 probably won't be here. Way more stump sprouting going on here. We've got another large walnut stump sprout coming back. Height differences, I love seeing that. We move into more of an open sunlight area. Got some persimmon, and now we've got a lot more herbaceous plants and brambles because of the amount of sunlight here. When we look up, there's a lot of canopy that's been cut, a lot of sunlight coming in. So I love to see, basically in just a couple steps as you're moving through, you're going from sprouts to brambles to herbaceous brambles, and every single step a deer takes, there's a bite of something different, and there's, again, different cover offered here. But what's also cool is, as we see so much understory that has changed in here, we've also then promoted the healthy oak trees that were in the stand that had been previously crowded out. So we've got post oak, we've got white oak, we've got black oaks, we've got northern red oak scattered throughout here, and the occasional walnut was left, but primarily this is the trees that we wanted to promote. Cut all the trees around it in the canopy. Now this is getting a ton of sunlight, and most of the resources here are going to go into mass production. So not only have we gone from a closed canopy system that had very little food, 50 pounds of food per acre annually for deer, and probably had a limited or stressed mass production, very little cover. We've gone to now lots of herbaceous cover, lots of woody sprouts, lots of brambles, lots of height and let's say heterogeneous structures throughout this understory that's going to promote deer foraging and deer moving through here during daylight hours. And then we still have mass production and probably increased mass production now. So this is the value of TSI. There could be a mess. You're going to have down tree structures, but this can all be consumed and managed with prescribed fire following up that reduction of canopy. So I'm tickled to see this on my property here, and hopefully you guys are encouraged to go out and do TSI as we're going into the dormant season. It's a fantastic time to do it, and you guys too can see the value of this on your own places if you do crop tree release and get after all those high stem count areas. Let's create some woody browse this winter, guys.